Suha Kordi. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Atman. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Who is Suha Kordi?
I'm Suha Kordi. I'm a Calgary real estate agent. I am licensed in residential and commercial. I love helping first-time home buyers find exactly what they're looking for and have a passion for making people's dreams come home. Beautiful.
And this is, I don't know, this is really impressive, to be honest with you. I love your energy. I love the way you speak. And I barely see it in some realtors, to be honest with you. But today's topic, it's a little bit for people who are planning on buying properties in Canada. People are planning on investing in Canada in general, right? And first thing first, what is the process of buying a home for the first time?
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you brought that up. So basically, the process can be really scary to anyone who's never done it before. So that's where I like to come in and just explain everything. I think the best place to start for anyone is getting yourself pre-approved with a mortgage, because we don't know what you can buy or what you're qualified for unless we have that. So either going to your bank or getting a mortgage broker, they're gonna be able to just walk you through the steps on exactly what you're qualified for. Once we have that number, that's where I come in and I can find exactly what's in your budget, what's gonna work, whether a condo, townhouse, or a detached house is gonna be the best option for you.
Okay, and what is the best option of buying properties in terms of, what is the differences between single house, detached house? I don't know it, of course, but a lot of people, they don't know. They're newcomers, they're new immigrants. They were born and raised here and they don't know the differences between condos and apartments. And what's the differences between buying a condo and buying a single house or a detached house?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So I mean, the best time to buy is always going to be now, because as we know, real estate holds its value and it's only going up in an upward trajectory from here. So I'd say it's going to be what you can afford. If you're fortunate enough to be able to get a detached house, where average detached prices right now in Calgary is $800,000, which is steep. So it is a harder one for first-time home buyers. I always say start where you know you can afford, and we can always work your way up in a few years. Build some healthy equity in a condo, and then in 5 or 6 years, we can sell it. And then all the earnings you have in that, we can actually put into a home. So It's better to start somewhere than to start nowhere, because when you're paying rent, you're paying someone's mortgage off.
Exactly, and I've heard that a lot here in Canada especially. And I'm still renting, by the way, personally.
Well, we gotta find you something.
Of course.
We're gonna talk later.
That's what I'm asking for, of course. My question is, do you think it is a good timing right now to buy property in Canada?
Absolutely. The best time to purchase is now.
How can you convince me and convince them?
Well, let's think of it this way. If you're not buying right now, where are you living? Because everyone's got to live somewhere. So if you're paying X amount of dollars to live in someone else's house, that's going in their pocket into their bank. So it's paying that. So my quote is, if you can afford to pay rent for someone else, you can afford to pay your own mortgage.
All right.
So when you think about it that way, you might as well be building your own equity versus somebody else's. But that's where it all goes back to, let's get you pre-qualified, because you will not know what you can afford unless you have an approval.
So you mean if I'm paying right now $2,000 for my apartments, I can afford a condo or something?
I can absolutely find you a $380,000 condo, and your mortgage would be about $2,000 a month. As long as we find you low condo fees, it should be covering exactly what you're paying now. And Canada's holding the interest rate at 5%. So when you do the math, it checks out. If we find you $350, evens out.
Okay, and you know that I'm Muslim, right?
I do know you're Muslim. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, of course. And I wanted to know a little bit about the halal mortgage. I've heard a lot of it, and I've heard a lot of people speaking about it, especially on YouTube and in the social channels, including Mr. Trudeau. I know everybody loves Trudeau, of course.
Of course.
I wanted to know, what is the halal mortgage?
Yeah, I mean, so the concept behind interest in Islam being haram is we don't want to be paying the interest for someone else, because those earnings aren't coming in a halal way. So by introducing a halal mortgage system, it's going to be lowering those interest rates, which not only helps people be able to afford and qualify for it, but then we can avoid any of those forbidden things that we're scared to touch in our religion. So personally, being Muslim myself, I think if that option's available, that would be like opening up a whole new demographic and opportunity for people who really want to stay true to their beliefs and values. And I think it's a great idea. I think if the bill got passed, where that could be more available. Of course, we all know banks want to make money. That's their whole foundation,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha.
But that opportunity arises and it's available to someone, absolutely. I would take it myself.
And is it valid right now, or it's just like...
I think it's an idea Trudeau's introducing, but it's more of like lowering an interest rate rather than eliminating it. So I don't know if we're there yet. However, there is still private lenders themselves who will actually do rent to own. So if you're fortunate enough to find one of those people, that is a great option for someone who wants to stay very strict on their morals and their values in Islam. So that would be the best option.
And how much money do you need for your down payments as a first home buyer? I know it depends on the property, depends on the area, depends on the city itself. But I want to know, what is the average?
So first time home buyer actually gets to qualify it for 5% down. So 5% down on a $300,000 condo, for example, is going to be $15,000.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does the government support you on buying your first home or your second home or whatever?
So the best option that a government can give you for a first-time home buyer is allowing you to do the 5% down. And you only get to do that once for your primary residence that you'll be living.
So once you have the first property, you will have to pay over 5% or 10% on your second and third property.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you think Canada is a good country to invest in or not?
Well, I mean, the way we can look at the last couple of years and just history itself is that the prices of homes continually go up. And that's largely due to our shortage in inventory, as well as all our foreign buyers that we have from both out of country and in the country, Toronto, Vancouver. So as we know, classic economics, when your supply is low, your demand goes up. So yes, absolutely. Canada, especially Calgary, and being such a hot market, it's a great place to invest. Anything you buy today is going to hold its value and just grow in time.
Gotcha. And have you lived in a different city than Calgary before?
Nope, lived in Calgary my whole life.
Okay, so how would you know if Calgary is the best city to invest in, especially in Canada? I mean, we have Toronto, we have Montreal, we have Vancouver, we have Calgary, and we have the other cities, right? But these cities are the major cities in the country, right? I want to know, how would you know, or what is the advice for the new buyers, or for the newcomers, or for the new immigrants, or for big families that are looking for properties? And we know that Calgary is pretty good for that, and we heard a lot of good things about Calgary, even outside Calgary. So I want to know, what is the best city? Be honest with me.
Well, I think as far as price point, everybody knows Toronto is just like insane for even trying to purchase anything. So I think for what you're getting for value, Calgary holds it. You're gonna get a lot more bang for your buck, if you will. You'll get a nicer property in Calgary for a lower cost. Whereas same with Vancouver, the prices are just skyrocketed, which is making it so hard for people. And one of the reasons why I know this, I actually do have a lot of Toronto and Vancouver buyers who end up investing here and then moving here as well. If we look at the statistics, Calgary's the fastest growing, hottest city to live in Canada for many reasons. So not only are we in the Rocky Mountains, but it's super safe, it's super clean. And yeah, house prices just are holding their value and going up by the date.
Gotcha. What else you can tell me about real estate? I want you to give your best to everybody who's watching right now.
Well, something that's really, really important to remember with purchasing something, not only is your down payment, it's also going to be your closing costs. So you are going to want to have a property inspector. Those can range from $550 to $800, depending on how good of a job you want it done. But that is a very important cost to remember, and you really should get a property inspection when you're buying a house. Second cost for closing is going to be a lawyer. So you are going to need a lawyer to close your deal and transfer the funds and the title, and those can range around $1,400 and up. So average is about $1,400 though for buying.
Gotcha.
So it's an important cost to remember. It's not just the down payment, and it's not just a deposit. You do need to make sure you still have those funds to actually close the deal.
And how can you find a really good property in Calgary? Did you have to go?
Well, you got to hire a really good realtor like myself.
There we go.
And then I'll find it for you.
I'll leave your Instagram. I'll leave her phone number, of course, if somebody is interested in buying a property here in Calgary. Of course, you got Suha Kordi, the expert. And I mean, you can check her out online. A lot of beautiful reviews, a lot of good comments about her services. And I can tell, because when we met in person, I mean, just today, we've been talking on the media in general about real estate, about podcasts and stuff like that. And I didn't know you have that much of energy, which gives you a positive energy on buying a place, which is really good, trust me.
Thank you.
And you're doing a great job. And I've heard a lot about you. So check her out. I'll leave her Instagram, I'll leave her phone number for sure in the description. And if somebody's interested in buying a property, Calgary is the place to go.
Buying or selling and wanting to make some money off of it.
True. What else could you add to this wonderful video before we shut it down?
Let's see. Although buying can be a scary experience, my job here is to alleviate any of the stress and pain. I will take care of all the communication for you. I will have everything laid out super organized, so you're never gonna be questioning what it is. And it is really important to hire an educated and experienced realtor, because when things come up like lack of permits, you wanna make sure that I'm the person that calls the city for you, make sure how can we get a permit for it, what are the implications, what are the costs. Buying a house isn't just buying if it's nice and it's pretty. There's a lot of hidden things in a house you won't know about until you actually do your due diligence. So that's something to take very seriously, and I really like to make sure I do a thorough job before we proceed with purchasing the home.
Thank you. And you pretty much manage everything. You manage all of that, right?
Yeah.
So you take the hassle from the clients and you just do it yourself.
Yep.
And you just give them the keys, that's all.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And what's the average right now in Calgary for buying like just a simple house with 3 bedrooms, for example?
So the average detached house in Calgary right now is up to $800,000. $800,000, yeah.
And it's still gonna go up, do you think? Or
still gonna go up, yep.
till when?
I don't know, until there's more. We have a housing crisis right now, so that's one of the reasons why Calgary's come up with its rezoning, to make it easier for builders to buy lots, flip it, do infills, so there's a lot more opportunities, and just build outside as well. So you are seeing a lot of new developments. We're seeing a lot more condos and townhouses come up, which is of course much more affordable than our average house price right now. So we are gonna see a really big rise in condo prices. So that's also something for anyone who's been kind of sitting, knowing they wanna buy a condo, they are gonna go up in value. So that's also good for when it's time to sell. You'll be making some money off of it.
I keep asking one question even to myself sometimes, and I really don't know the answer. How much extra money you have to pay? So if you get a mortgage, I do understand it, but there's a lot of extras which I barely understand myself. Like maintenance fee, condo fee, the city fee, whatever fee. So I don't get it. I want you to explain it to me.
Yeah, for sure. So whether you do purchase a townhouse, a condo, or a detached house, they're all gonna have taxes on it. It's not something you can avoid in this country. So you are gonna pay property taxes depending on square footage of your home and what type of property it is. So you're already going to be paying the property tax. So with the townhouse or a condo, the reason why you have fees there is because it like goes into the pool of the thing. So when there's a management company, let's say for example, you're paying $300 condo fee, part of that contribution will go into your reserve fund study. A reserve fund study is there in case something happens to it, then all that accumulated amount will go into it. So the roof, for example. So when you have something, an apartment or a townhouse and you're paying into it, that's something that can be fixed by your monthly payments that you're paying with your condo fee. A lot of condos offer like your heat, your water, your trash, your snow removal. Again, it differs case to case and condo to condo, and depending on the property management company that is in charge of it. But those are usually the fees associated with it, so.
Okay, interesting.
Either someone's cutting your grass or you're cutting your grass.
Still the same, right? Or
yeah.
you're shoveling, especially.
Exactly. Someone, you're either paying, like you're doing it, or you're paying someone to do it. So.
Gotcha. And do you think it is good to buy an old property or a new property? I know it's a silly question, but I keep hearing it's not good to buy an old property because of the maintenance, right?
I mean, if we look at the houses right now in Calgary, it doesn't matter if it's old or new, they're selling like candy. So they're holding their value. As long as it's a house, it's gonna sell.
You got it. So the house will keep on growing and growing in terms of money, right?
Yeah, they're only appreciating with time. So I guess that just comes down to an actual preference by the buyer if they want something brand new, which is gonna cost more, potentially anyways, or if they want something that's already used.
Gotcha. What is the advices that you can give to people before we close the chapter here? In terms of buying a property, buying a condo, buying downtown, northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast.
I mean, when we do a condo, we definitely want to do a condo doc review as an added condition, not only just a property inspection and a finance condition. You want to make sure you do a thorough condo review. We always like to hire like lawyers or even just ex-lawyers who are now property doc review experts, because they can look through the bylaws, the minutes, and they can check and make sure there's no special assessments, There's no post-tension cables, which is a big no-no for condos. There's lots of complications with those. So just making sure, it all comes down to the realtor you hire. The more educated, the more experienced they are, the more they actually know about what you're buying, the more they're gonna be able to advise you. Because at the end of the day, we're real estate advisors. We're here to offer the best advice to help you get the best purchase.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. And one more question before we finish. I wanted to know, do you know when the housing crisis will stop?
It's such a difficult answer, or such a difficult question to answer, because unless there's just magically so many more houses being built and less immigrants coming to Canada. But the way Calgary's expanding, I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Because I'm seeing a lot of construction downtown, less immigrants, less immigration in general. A lot of stuff going on, especially on the media with politicians and stuff. So I wanted to know, do you think that will stop?
I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's an amazing time to sell. So
amazing time to sell and to buy too, right?
Well, it's always a good time to buy. It's never going to be a bad time, because anytime you buy, it's going to hold.
So real estate in Canada in general is a good investment.
It's a great investment. It's the best investment.
Excellent. So well, thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. God bless. Appreciate
Shukran.
that.
Thank you everybody for watching. It's been a great video with Suha. And I hope to see you soon. Why not with her once again? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.